All right, we will call the meeting, the school building committee to order at 6:11. Start off with a roll call. Ann Dixon is absent. Lita Hall. Absent. Anna Isabel Dos Reis Coutu is, I believe, absent. Amy Anzalone.
Here.
Kristen Bagley.
Here.
Christine Kennedy. Phil Conti.
Here.
Thank you. Christopher. Absent. Rich Poole is absent. Russell Hill.
Here.
James Pearson.
Here.
Dan Perillo.
Here.
I am here. Don Cowett.
Here,
Steve Nestrak
on his way.
on his way.
Really excited.
I'm really excited. It's about the last meeting of the day.
All right, emergency evacuation procedures.
Yeah, in case of emergency, we'll exit out the door you came in. You can turn to your left or your right. We'll take you back around to the exit that takes you outside.
All right, next item is review of minutes. We'll be holding off on those.
Yeah, so I have a copy of the minutes from both the 4th and the 11th of December, but we don't have a quorum to vote on them, so I'm just gonna hold my paper copies until we have a quorum, and then we can take the vote, and then whatever we have from tonight's meeting will be added. We'll just vote on 3 cents.
Good. All right, item 4 on the agenda, selection of a community member.
So I sent out, I sent out an email to our parent listserv. I had 2 or 3 parents reach out to me. 2 of them in particular were very interested, very qualified. One I think is in this construction field with doing the kind of work that we're doing and other communities are doing. I forward those names to Dan. I believe the process is that the town council has to approve the community members, if they are voting members. So Dan will, I'm not gonna speak for Dan, but you're gonna put it on it.
February 10th agenda with 2 names.
But we just need 1 person.
1 opening, but we have 2 applicants, correct?
Correct.
Any kind of alternates or anything given the situation tonight, or do we stick to something that's already codified?
I mean, if both people want to attend meetings, they can, but only one of them would be a voter. I don't know how it works for an alternate, if they can slide in as a voter if needed, or if they're an alternate and they're not a member, if they're permitted to vote. That's something I'm not sure about. I don't, Phil, have you experienced that anywhere?
No.
No, so I would say probably.
Just given the circumstances,
Yeah.
I figured to ask. All right, so at this point, those documents and the names have been forwarded to town manager. Town manager will place on the next town council agenda, which I believe is 210. Yep. Thank you. All right, next item 5, we have a discussion from project manager.
So he's on his way,
He's,
so if we can skip over him and then go
Right.
back.
all right, we will hold off on that, go down to item 6, project updates. We have a bond project schedule and communications update.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure why, when I put this together, I separated the auditorium out from the other projects. They're gonna be discussed together. So I don't know why. Somewhere in my process, I made these 2 separate items. They're all the same. So here's sort of the update, and I'll pull in a few people to chime in. Before we go on, though, I wanted to introduce Harry Edmiston. Harry is been with the district for a very long time. He has served as a custodian. He's a maintenance worker. He can do almost anything. He's a trained mechanic. He can do almost anything. So Harry is,
Any fixed snow blowers?
he can do anything.
He was on it today. He was on it today.
Yeah, we had, to Harry's horn for a second. We had this, was it a pump over at the high school
Yes.
that we could not
Chiller
find?
pump.
Chiller pump. That was a disaster. And between Harry and Wayne,
Wayne, the
you
plumber.
and was it also the mechanic?
Yeah, we sent it out to have it rebuilt and it came back at 4 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything with it. These guys grabbed it, they put it back together and it ran all summer. It was a chiller unit for the air conditioner at the high school.
Completely rebuilt it.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
So the reason why we invited Harry is because Harry works second shift when we have things happening in second shift. And the roof, the sprinkler project at the high school is a second shift job. And so Harry's gonna be supervising that job. He's gonna be here meeting with them when they start, and then he'll be available to, answer any questions they may have while they're here. but Harry's also involved with lots of other little things, so I want you guys to know who he is, be familiar with him, and him to be familiar with our process, because he may get pulled in at any point to kind of give feedback and input on, what's going on. I know the school committee members know who Harry is, he's been around, but I want to make sure everybody else knew who he was. So here's some project updates. All right, so the Western Well, this one is coming together. The application for the wetland approval, to work on those jurisdictional wetlands, which was, required for the transmission line, was submitted. So there's waiting for approval on that. They're hoping to drill, originally they were hoping for February break, that's probably not gonna happen, but I think in April, they're hoping to start the process of drilling the well. Right now, they're reviewing the engineering application draft. They came back with a comment letter that had a number of things they had to check off, nothing big. They also had, DOH reached out to the abutter because there's a variance request, but we also had to do an easement request. Dan, I don't know if you want to chime in, you handled that.
Yeah, I gotta resend that letter with corrections that they made on it today, so I'll send it all tomorrow again.
Yep, so the owner will, and that kind of just spells out what our access is to that area. The well itself is not on his property, it's on our property, it's just an easement buffer, right, It's like a 200-yard.
Yeah.
Buffer. And then. That's kind of where we're at, right, we're waiting for Northeast Water to kind of respond back to the comments, and then they'll move on to the next thing. Sewer project, so this has evolved quickly, during the December break, they worked on the school property. They got a lot of what they were looking to get done. One of the things they did discover, is that there were some pipes, I'm not sure what the material is, I don't know if it's clay or something else. But they were very concerned working in that area in really cold weather, because if they get too close to those pipes and they break, that's a whole other problem. So they wanted to pause for the winter, and when the weather gets warmer again, they'll come back and they'll work on our driveway, which is basically our access road, and then they'll work on reservoir. I don't know, Dan, if you have additional information.
That's it, yeah, so March, beginning of March is gonna start, working on the school property and Reservoir Avenue. They can't get back onto Tayo until, April. So initially, the project was supposed to be done April, beginning of May. We're gonna have to ask for extension. It's gonna take a little longer than they thought, but talked to EPA, EPA is fine with it. The long the entire project is done by the deadline of September, well, we really wanted to get done by the summer. Including paving and everything else, so far so good. Couple change orders, but nothing too significant that we can't handle.
Are they just time extensions or additional lines?
Not time extension.
Auditorium lighting, we have the approval for the rigging to be inspected, it just hasn't been done yet, we're just waiting to get that done. If you're not familiar with that it's on the stage itself, there's a rigging unit that holds all the lights that they use like on the stage lighting. Not the house lights, but the lights for performances, but that's an old rigging unit, I think, Russ, you said it's held up with old, not old, but with rope.
Yeah, it's the old like hemp rope, if you know what that is, the brown rope, it's original to the school back in 75 when they put that up, and there's no documentation on the last time it was inspected or anything.
And when the lighting package gets put together, she's gonna be switching out the lights on that rigging. And if that rigging and that rope can't handle that weight, then she has to replace that rigging, which is gonna then change the scope of her project. So the budget for the lighting is $1 million. But the rigging is the first thing that needs to be sort of dealt with before she can give us the rest of the lighting package.
Yeah.
And the choices that come with that. And then if we have any money left over, the secondary purpose was for sound upgrades. So if we're doing our lighting package and it comes in at $500,000, then the other $500,000 can be put towards sound. And then that will be done. Last meeting, you guys discussed the HVAC units at the high school. There's 2 that we've ordered that are gonna be hopefully installed soon. I know there was a discussion about whether it's impact fees versus bond, but the HVAC units are in the bond project for both, actually for all of the schools have HVAC unit upgrades. So Phil, you're gonna put it, after the school committee takes a vote on that, you're gonna put them in the right portal. And then we'll be able to get the reimbursement, the housing aid and all that, that comes with that. And we used, we had, MPA, but Russ got 2 bids, and the second one was, really, competitive, much less than the first one.
A lot less.
And so, even though they're both on the master price agreement, the second one was much better, so.
Yeah.
No RFP or anything like that, that has to happen. Fire suppression system, I'm not gonna say much, cause I think Steve will probably talk a lot about that. But, the contract has been signed by both parties, from what I understand. And, I have a copy of it, Dan shared it with me, I think now that he has a signed contract, and I think you're gonna talk a little bit about insurance, that, we'll be able to roll soon. Which is good for us because, we have a consent agreement that has to be done by a certain time. The other thing, and this is important to Dan, because our names are on the consent agreement, is that, our lawyer sent us sort of like an update on, here are some items that need to make sure they get done. And I think we feel pretty good after going through it together that other than sprinklers, basically everything is done. It included like the fume hoods that we closed off and encapsulated, they're not running. And we got the portable ductless hoods that run with like a charcoal system. So there's no concern there. They replaced the motors in the HVAC part of the science wings to circulate air, but Russ is gonna double check to make sure there's no issues there.
2 new motors on it.
Yeah, and then, the only other thing that came up that we can talk to Steve, or we can do it on the Thursday call,
Yeah.
was there's a chemical room that's had all the chemicals in it. We have gotten rid of all the old chemicals, but there was a requirement in that consent agreement that either a fire rated door with a certain thickness be placed in that space, or extinguishing, fire suppression. And we just wanted to verify that that room is being covered in the sprinkler project,
Every room will be sprinkled.
including that like chemical.
Well, every room.
So that will address that issue. So everything else on that list outside of sprinklers is basically done. So we should be in good shape. This conversation is a new one, but it's gonna start taking some time it's gonna start taking a little bit of our time, is Phil kind of got the ball rolling on the middle school roof. If we're gonna try to get that middle school, it's a partial roof replacement, but if we're gonna try to get that project done, Phil has to do some design work, and we need to get like an RFP together, and we have to do the whole process, sort of like what we did with the sprinklers, but now with the roof. And I think we're looking to try to get that done over the summer, right? Is that our plan? Yeah. That roof is on its last leg. It's been on its last leg for like 3 years. And then there's an HVAC unit at the middle school that is no longer operational. It provides heat to locker rooms and
The
something
locker
else.
rooms and the heat exchanger on it is cracked. And you can't get parts for it anymore, and it's original to the school. And after this one, the next one's gonna go, it's just gonna be a constant thing, so.
And then, the only last thing I was gonna add is that, the gym is done. We did have a few hiccups with the scoreboard and the jumbotron, nothing significant, but we had to have a few technicians come out. And we're almost like at the end point there. One of the things that wasn't included in the project for some reason was, even though we have sound in the whole place, like you plug in your phone or any device, beautiful sound system, but if you put a video up on the jumbotron, there's no sound, the video. So the sound system is not directly linked to the video system. And that has to be run from the actual board itself. So what our guys did, we got an estimate, was it $4,000 or $5,000? To have a wire run from the computer, which is in the phys ed office, all the way to the other side of the gym where the sound system is, to then be able to make the sound come through. What we ended up doing is, we had the wire on hand, Russ's guys ran conduit like above the ceiling, the whole length of the gym, but on the outside of the gym, into the girls' locker room, and then back into the wall, which is a wall like this, to where the sound system is. And then Jim, our tech guy, put adapters on each end and they tested it, and today they ran a video and it's
It works.
phenomenal. So, you talk about like, old Yankee ingenuity. You say it's gonna cost us 4,000, we're doing it for $20.
Some duct tape.
Yep.
To guide her.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's sort of like the update on projects. I think I hit everything. Any questions before we circle back to this?
I'm curious, what's the material of the roof, middle school?
That's the, it's the white PV, it's not PV,
PPO?
yeah, that's it, but there's two layers there. When they put that new roof up, well, I said new roof probably 20 years ago, or whatever, they went over the old roof. So now when you have a leak over here and it's breaking over here, you can't fix it because it's leaking where the old roof is underneath. And all the insulation is soaking in.
And
Well, it's
there's
frozen
like,
now,
there's like a, like a
So
vapor
we're not getting
barrier.
leaks because it's frozen solid.
Isn't there a vapor barrier rust between the two roofs?
Yes,
Which
yes.
creates moisture?
yeah. It's a horror show. I don't even let the guys go up there because when they walk on it, the nails come pop poking right through, only when we have an emergency, you know? So,
Is that what we're gonna go with to place?
or
For the replacement portion, the partial, or we're gonna?
probably not gonna use the same stuff. I don't know exactly what they're gonna come up with, but some guys will be looking at the professionals. I don't know too much about the roof material.
We've had Garland Roofing come out and inspect it. They used to do a lot of the supplies for the roofers in this region. They don't actually do the work, but they supply a lot of it. And he's been up there a few times.
Yeah,
Looking at it.
We're looking at instead of just a single ply membrane system. Maybe going with an SBS system, only because it's certainly a lot more durable. The middle school is got a large 1-story area, it's easily accessible. There's some reasons why you would maybe go to a SBS roof instead of a TPO. So that's our current approach.
And what's the actual status of the HVAC at the middle school for arts?
the locker room,
Yeah. is
it's
that-
not working at all.
Is it, I mean, the new one, sorry, is it on order or?
It's, I got a quote for it right here. I'm gonna put it in with the,
And that's already been, that's off the FDA, so no.
Yes.
holdups.
yes.
That's good, let's get that. What's
Yeah,
the
let's get
timeline,
it going,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, what's the timeline on something like that?
Well, the ones at the high school are on their way. They'll be replaced. The one at the junior high, I just wanted an okay for it, then they'll order it, and they'll come in, so. It's usually about 3 weeks,
So.
you know,
So.
so we got portable heaters in there now and, you know, trying to keep it warm, opening up the doors from the other rooms, but. It's gotta be replaced. There's no fixing it. Done.
Well, thank you, this stuff's sad a lot of times, but it's interesting, so
Yeah,
I always just like to know how this stuff gets to where it gets, so. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Anybody
Oh,
else?
one last thing, I'm sorry. I also passed around a document that looks like this. Actually, Phil did it for me. Thank you, Phil. So this is, every year we put together, part of our budget is our capital improvement list. I also share it with Dan because when he does some of the work for the town side and they're looking at capital improvement projects, he takes these into consideration with the planning department. But I wanted you guys to get a copy of this. This is how we are kind of like, this is our list of things that we feel like are very important. On the top, you know, it's in color, it's highlighted red, and they all have number ones. Those are our high priority projects. Some of them are on their way, but just not done. And then below that, there's like, I guess we put twos. Those are necessary but not urgent projects. I just wanted to put that out in front of people. A lot of those projects in the right-hand side under funding source, some say bond, some say grant, depending on the funding, some say capital. There may be projects, and this is where I would look to like Phil and Steve to say, like, you know, there may be capital projects that I've identified as the funding source as capital that fit inside the scope of our bond project, in which case the cost would then shift to the bond. But any questions about this? Russ and I were very happy because when we took last year's version of this and we took it out, we eliminated 3 or 4 or 5 items off this list that had been on the list for years. So we felt pretty good about that. And there's a number now that if you look at the top of this, by the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, there's a bunch of more that are just gonna come right off.
And Don, your fiscal year is on June 30th?
Yeah, July 1 to June 30, yeah.
Okay, so fiscal year 26, I was looking at the fire protection as an example. We're assuming there's nothing budgeted, but it's in the bond funds and it's
Correct.
mostly gonna be drawn out in fiscal, after July 1st.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
And when you say capital, is that school's capital account?
So we have a very small capital budget, as you know. That's why we always use impact fees
Right.
for big projects. So Russ, as the facilities director, has a budget. His budget has some funds in it for small capital projects. Big capital projects, we often either try to get impact fees or I hate to say it, but this town historically has kicked things down the road. And so if something can't get done and we can't afford it, there's no impact fees and we don't have a budget for it, it just moves to another year. Until eventually we do have money. That's why I'm hoping, once we kind of get rolling along, if Phil and Steve say, actually, Don, this project that you have funded as capital really does fit inside our bond project, and we have the funding for it. We can then redesignate that as a bond project and then get it done.
yeah, particularly if we're coming under on some of these, like, I think fire protection might be under, I think Phil already thinks in that direction.
Yeah.
And a lot of these are not big ticket items. But if you look at things like roof and ceiling tiles, Harry, you've been here forever. We've needed ceiling tiles probably the entire time you've been here. Right? I mean, it's just, and if you go to any of our old schools, all the windows are plastic and old. I mean, we just are.
That's a good thing to start making that wish list, because if you've got flexible or fungible money, then you could maybe dress up the ceiling tiles,
Right.
in the high school, right?
Well, I know you were talking about with the fire suppression,
Yeah.
there's certain sections that we know we're gonna have to be replacing out some tiles, so let's put some
Yeah,
place.
just get that ethics stock and then bang it out, yeah.
All right, JP, if you wanna circle back, this is just for your own sort of like file of things.
Yeah.
Keep in mind.
Good time. All right, so we are through project updates. We will go back to item 5 and get an update discussion from
You can
project manager.
take one and pass it along, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I was really, thank you for flexible on the agenda here.
That's it, good stuff.
You like paper?
Yeah. good paper.
Well, this is good paper.
That's not Coventry Public Schools. We don't have this weight.
You've done enough, yeah. You.
This is the equivalent of
You
5
just-
pieces of paper. in
Yeah,
Coventry.
okay.
And it's called.
So I'm not getting sustainability points,
No,
is what you're saying?
no.
Sorry.
Green project.
Sorry. So we could go to the rest is kind of the same format, but just the status and next steps. I think what Don mentioned earlier, contracts fully executed for 2.8 billion. The builder's risk insurance, I just got the quote, which I forwarded. It's about $2,500, builder's risk that will cover the contract amount plus 10%. And that way it gives us some flexibility if we have some change orders or asbestos or something that might come up, then we know we don't have to go back and reprice the builder's risk. I should have that paperwork tomorrow, so at tomorrow's, we're gonna have a virtual meeting again, a weekly call. I can share that out with Don and Dan and Phil.
So that's an amendment now to the original
I think that'd
contract.
be an amendment to the contract, isn't that what you were thinking, Phil?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
AIA change order number
Yeah.
1.
So there's a
So,
modest markup, whatever's in the contract for that, so.
so for the town council, for Dan, so does that require another council vote, or can it just be handled by the manager?
2,500, I can just say.
Okay, good. So we can prepare that amendment, get the quote, I'll distribute it, and Dan can take a look with whoever you need to take a look at it, make sure you think it's complete. We'll attach that to an amendment and circulate that for signature. And then we've been having, as most people know, we've been having weekly meetings on Thursdays. And I would say at this point, we've gone through kind of what we feel is the appropriate schedule. know, what's gonna be started when in the next 30, 60, 90 days, what's gonna be allocated in the summer. Started conversations on where they're gonna mobilize and do laydowns. So I think tomorrow we'll probably start talking about, you know, the hard date to come show up and start work. Not that the contract is signed. So I think a lot of the blocking and tackling has been documented and covered, so I don't think, you know, I still asked Fred today for the list of personnel, so we could run that through Raptor. If you don't have to run through Raptor, we've got the state attorney general, then his team coming in. We'll probably initially meet with Russ and Harry, and I'll be there as well, so we'll have a little huddle every morning to make sure if Brooke or you, Don, wanna chime in with something, we'll have, you know, 2:30, a 15-minute huddle. And we'll do that for the first couple of weeks to kind of get into a flow. And then Harry will probably take the steering wheel on that. Unless Harry says they're not following what I need them to do, we can circle back, but I don't have any expectations that that's gonna happen. And then I put construction start in February, which would probably be, you know, we'll talk about that tomorrow. That's about it. I think, you know, principal and the discussions that were provided were super helpful, right? You were there, Russ, Gary was there, so, you know, they've stopped scheduling events, so I think we got a good game plan. So, any questions, comments from Harry, Russ?
What's the biggest inconvenience they've done for the school itself?
What's that?
What's the biggest inconvenience for the school during this project?
Well, I think the two large spaces, the auditorium and the gym, are spaces that, you know, get used during school day, but sometimes outside the school day. And so when they are in those two spaces, they have to work around events and things like that. During the rest of the project is happening in the hallways and the rooms when school's out. So they should be able to, you know, other than the custodians who have their work to do. My understanding is these guys are gonna come in, they're gonna set up their stuff, they're gonna do their work. And then, you know, they're gonna clean up and it's gonna look like nobody was ever there and the kids are gonna come into school and have a regular day.
Yeah,
That's my understanding.
yeah, and he's gonna schedule like the gymnasium this summer. too.
Yeah, the gym, auditorium, kitchen, summer. And then we actually got down to some really like on your rigging, lighting project in an auditorium, if we're gonna stage for scaffolding to get to the sprinklers. Same staging, hopefully can be used for the lighting installation and that sort of stuff. But the good thing is, again, there was nothing that we heard from Brooke in terms of what's on the school calendar, what's been committed, we're working around, and then no new commitments. If there are, we can work around that, but it actually, I was, not all districts have their calendar or these kind of things lined up. So I was surprised and it's nice to see.
So the only other thing that could come up is, I don't think it's gonna be an issue, but like a little bit of traffic right from like our sewer work that's happening and our roof work, our sprinkler work that's happening. There could be like some convergence, but I don't think there's gonna be really any overlap. I just think there's just gonna be a lot of busy time, you know, at that space.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in the project or not, Dan, but once we're offline with the septic system, we'll have to have a conversation about like what that looks like to come really offline, because it's an open tank.
Yeah, if you mobilize that for, yeah. that's
Yeah.
my favorite, but
Yeah.
definitely, yep, on the radar.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's all I have unless there's anything else on it.
Just one quick one, we got construction cost 2.9 million, capital sheet has 4 million overall. What's the big delta?
Well, what I don't show is,
Soft cost.
OPM, architect, and then there's a
Jet
small line of miscellaneous for some testing and stuff. That's on the school district side, and I'll add those to the sheet. I mean, Dan caught me last time because he said I had total cost and that's wrong. This 2.8 is just construction cost.
Right.
So now I have to get I don't have a line of sight to it. Ours is 50,000 for the sprinkler, it's a fixed cost. We have another 50 for the roof, so that's easy. But we're gonna be well under the 4.
Okay. that's
And
right.
I think we'll talk about that tomorrow. There's some submittals. Again, some of the air quality monitoring we want to do. So we'll tally that up, put a contingency.
Gotcha.
And maybe by the next building committee, we'll come back and say, we think, here's my complete budget. And we think there's maybe X amount of excess funds for the floor. And then you can decide for a reallocator where it's
Don't
going.
cheap out on paper.
Black and white, it'll be double sided next time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to you all in email next time.
Hey.
It's some shared box that you have to find, like our worst nightmare.
It's a tough crowd.
I didn't even notice how good this paper is. You know, my printing, that's what I use.
It's all relative, man.
I'm so cheap, I'm gonna collect this paper and use it again.
I can feel it.
If I had more to report, I'd put it on the backside, so maybe I'll do that.
That's public service intelligence.
I know, it's, I don't know, I thought it was 20 pounds, maybe it's, something good.
Well, thank you for that. Any other questions for Steve? All right, thank you, sir. All right, we are now back down to item 7. Is this something we need to hold off?
So I was talking to Phil, when we realized we didn't have a quorum, one of the things Phil suggested is that we can achieve the same outcome by having a school committee vote. Because it's still the same entity. So instead of waiting on this body to meet again, we'll put it on the school committee agenda, they'll vote for it. And we're gonna have them vote for both the high school unit and the middle school units, because
I want to add a third then.
yeah, all right.
I want to add the schematic design submission to the RIDE portal for the middle school roof.
Okay.
And I'm happy, I can come to this meeting, the school committee meeting, and give a brief presentation so that you are all comfortable submitting it to the RIDE design portal.
Mhm.
But let's grab those 3. That'll keep us on track for something happening this summer.
So that meeting is on the 12th. In this room.
Okay.
And Amy will be happy to have you come, because I'm not gonna be here and she's running the meeting, so.
Okay.
If you can talk
That
about it.
agenda.
That agenda,
Keep
yeah,
adding
well,
to it.
So if I'm presenting on the 12th, do I need to send the documents? Do you distribute them to the school committee prior?
Yeah.
And when do you do
Before.
that?
Either the week before.
And that would be
Jackie, do you have Jackie's email?
probably,
Jackie
yeah.
Zerba,
Yeah.
or either one of us, but she's the one who puts it in the portal.
So I need to send it to her by
I would say by the Friday before,
Friday before.
which is the 7th day, I don't know. I don't know. Schematic design for ASFMS roof
Yes,
project?
yes.
6.
The 6th,
The school committee's about 12.
Yes.
so 2/6, I'll email, I'll be usually. I'll email the presentation. And then we'll be there to present it, and it should not be very controversial.
But it's gonna be two separate agenda items. One is HVAC units and one is schematic design.
Yeah, yes, yes.
And are the HVAC's all coming out of bond? I forget what we laid
Yeah.
out. So they're
Yes.
coming. But at the point of that meeting, you already have actual quotes and you'll be in
We
the
have
procurement
quotes.
process and you got that. So that way people can't say we're not going as fast as possible to get to meet.
Well, the thing about the portal is when it goes through the portal and gets approved and everything, then we're gonna get the house gate back on that.
Yeah, that's
Right.
housekeeping.
47% or 46%. So. That's like crucial for all of this, like everything needs to get as much housing aid as we can get back, you know.
All right, so that does it for item 7. Back on the agenda, item 8, public comment. Anyone here? See any? Item number 9, scheduled for the next meeting.
Stephen, Phil, do you think this is something we should be doing monthly, every 6 weeks? And then one of the things, what Pearson mentioned is, should we have a smaller group that meets like in between, just with like change order kind of discussion, that kind of thing?
I don't think we need it yet.
No, but maybe just be thinking about it.
What's the project?
So you think it monthly or 6 weeks? What do you think?
I'm fine monthly.
Yeah. I think that's, and if we can, if there's something here that needs to go to council, then I would try to do those. Whatever the timing is, so you have a week and a submission, right?
Yeah.
Because
We're
we should
Tuesday,
be
we're
looking at
Tuesday,
it when,
we're Tuesday, second.
let's see, what's the date?
second-
If we do it Wednesday, then, and the submission's Friday, that gives us a couple days to get new submission on Friday, then the council's the following week, it's all fresh.
Yes.
So I think that,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Don't you
No,
think?
I
Yeah.
agree.
I think school committee or this committee, if we have to do an interstitial meeting, we can probably rally people to do that.
So, yeah, and I think it might be,
Council's-
yeah, it might be good, Don, if we try to standardize this meeting as much as possible. So if we're gonna say it's monthly, and we want it before town council. When is
The
when
week
is town
before, yeah.
council?
Ten.
Well, like,
Second.
It's on a Tuesday, so if we have this meeting
So we're probably
say,
gonna hit this.
Wednesday or Thursday,
Yeah.
the week before the council meeting, that gives them plenty of time, I think. That's what we've done.
So your first council meeting,
10, February 10th.
right, but we don't have to meet before that, so I'm thinking if we skip down to the first one in March, which would be the 12th. Is that right? I think that's the second, is it not the 12th, excuse me, the 10th, right? The second Tuesday is the 10th. Then we meet the week before, which is the week of the second, March 2nd. Does that sound right?
March, what, Wednesday or?
you're gonna meet on a Wednesday?
Our Wednesday is the 4th.
Yeah, because then your submission is Friday, right, the sixth, and then your meeting's on the tenth. And
So basically, it's tracking that we could be doing the first Wednesday of the month.
there you go.
That's,
Yeah.
that's what I was looking for. If you're bringing new members on too, they'll want to know that.
Yeah.
So the first Wednesday of the month, starting,
So I'm just gonna send
March
that invite,
4th.
I'm gonna send that invite out first Wednesday of the month. And then I'm just gonna be all along until,
well, at least
Whatever.
for the end of the year.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
So we can have a going away party for you guys. Just kidding.
Before we
Just
go to-
kidding.
Before we go to jail?
Yes, that's just kidding.
Our last meal.
All right. It didn't seem as funny at the time.
All right, well, that completes that. Last item is a motion to adjourn.
It goes to adjourn?
Second. Second, all those in